Here's a thing that I consistently forget to mention as part of this series. The final game of the actual real-life league season, Saturday, April the 28th. We're going to have a meetup at Nuneaton's final game of the season. It's Nuneaton versus Blythe Spartans. It's a home game. I'm going to be presenting Sir Tom Elliott with his trophy as all-time record appearance holder. And it would be really cool to have some of you come along. The full details of it are on my Facebook group, facebook.com/Lollujo. But in reality, all you really need to do is turn up at the Nuneaton game on the 28th of April. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a whole load of you lot there. And it's just going to be a fun day out. So if you want to come along, cheer on the lads in real life, watch me give an award to Sir Tom Elliott, then it would be an awesome day to have you come along and join us. Hello and welcome to part 69 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we have 2 away games in the league, 2 days apart as well. I mean, this is going to be tricky. We're away against Fylde and away against Shrewsbury. Since you were last with me, things, as always, mixed. Lots of league wins, but the odd iffy result scattered in there as well. And we've finally got ourselves knocked out of the Checker Trade Cup. Goodness me, that was hard work. All of which leaves us at the halfway point of the season in 3rd place in an automatic promotion spot. 3 points behind Bradford, 10 points behind top of the table Forest. But as we've been saying all season, we expect Forest to run away with this. And we're more concerned with the gap that's behind us. If we can finish 3rd, that would be an incredible season. We're 2 points clear of Scunthorpe at the moment. And we have 2 games today that, although they're away games, they are games we should be winning. Because Fylde are down in 15th place. Shrewsbury down in the relegation zone in 23rd place. So, fingers crossed, we can pick up a couple of wins. I mean, we have been a little bit iffy against rubbish teams lately. We drew with Orient, who were just outside the relegation zone. We really struggled against Salford over multiple games, and they're rock bottom of the league. So, there's a chance we'll just be rubbish against both of these, and apparently we're only good against the good teams, but fingers crossed that's not the case. And this is the team that we're going to be putting out there. We've got Nadat in goal, a back four of Anderson, Sawyer, Redhead and Mole, with Darwin, Hurd and Skelton in midfield, and then Ball in behind McDonald and Fisher. So Tom Elliott, I've been giving him a little bit of a chance recently, but he played in a Checker Trade Trophy game, got himself sent off, and he's now banned for 3 Checker Trade Trophy matches. So Tom Elliott may never play in the Checker Trade Trophy again. Oh, it's so sad. It's weird that the suspension is just for the Checker Trade Trophy, though, so he can come back up onto the bench again for a league game. And let's get into the match. We are starting to get some goals out of Fisher and McDonald as a partnership again. I know we were saying on the last episode that I wasn't really sure what my best team was, what my best strike partnership is. I mean, you all knew. You knew all along that it's Fisher and McDonald with Ball in behind. That's the best front three. Sometimes they'll drift out of form, and that's when the likes of Cedwyn Scott can come into the team and just offer something a little bit different. But if they're fit, if they're fit and in form, these 3 are the ones. And it's just nice that we've got some decent backups. But if we get them in form, these 3 should be playing. I'm less confident about what my midfield 3 should be. There's question marks about the majority of them. There's been a few calls down in the comments over recent episodes about Skelton and Hurd both maybe being a little bit iffy. And they're 2 of the ones that I'd consider my sort of mainstays in my midfield. I'm not really... I tell you what, I don't think I've got a proper Sir Tom Elliott replacement. I've played Darwin as the Carrilero almost all season, but the reason Sir Tom's made it back into the squad is because I want someone who's going to offer that energy in midfield, get up, score important goals, and just sort of get around a bit, offer a little bit of movement and a little bit of energy. Squire Bill was doing it for us last year, and he's just not been the same player this year. Darwin does it to an extent. Dan Fisher grabbing the equaliser with his first opportunity of the game, but there's no one who quite does it like Sir Tom, so I've got him back in the first team squad just really to see if he can, at the age of 30, 31 now, whether he's got the magic in him to just suddenly become a league player a little bit later in life. He probably hasn't, but I just hope that by having him and his attitude around the squad, it might offer something a little bit more, or we can bring him on if we really do feel like we need someone to get around a bit. But it hasn't really worked out for him so far, and Darwin's just sort of dominating that Carrilero position, even though I'd kind of rather have him involved a little bit further forward, even on the other side as the Mazzala maybe. Right, Fisher. Can he score at the second time of asking? He does not this time, but that is, I think, our second clear-cut chance of the game. It's actually gone down as a half chance, though. So I'll allow it. Ball played it straight back into Hurd when I probably would have taken a touch and taken my time with it if I was Ball. I wouldn't. I'd have probably tripped over it and then started choking. But James Ball has the ability to maybe take a little bit more time over it than he did, rather than just thumping it straight back into the penalty area. That's a good ball from him, though, through to McDonald, and McDonald probably should have done a little bit better, and that one is a second clear-cut chance for us now. McDonald again! And it's a difficult header from quite a long way out. He has to try and loop it over the keeper, but it doesn't go up in the air at all, really. It kind of goes straight into the keeper's hands, and they are in again. And I don't like these end-to-end games that we seem to have against teams that aren't as good as us. We go and play against teams in the playoff mix, and we look really, really good against them. We play against teams that aren't very good, and we struggle. I wonder if actually the quality of our players isn't actually very good, but we've just got a lot of big game players who raise their game when it's the moment to raise their game. So they naturally play better against better opposition because of some kind of attitude, work ethic thing. But actually, quality-wise, some of them are a little bit lacking. And I think the likes of Laskowski fall into that category. Certainly Sir Tom, as an example. Maybe Hurd. And there's certainly a few of them. Even McDonald seems to play better against better opposition. Now that doesn't play very well against anyone, but we all know what happens when Mike Payne comes in. He's even worse. So I am now acknowledging that signing a goalkeeper is a priority. But as I've said before, both in previous episodes and on Twitter and in the comments, it's been 3 years of trying to look for a proper goalkeeper. 4 years, really, because we had Ted Can before this, who was even worse. Ever since Linus left, we haven't really been able to get a goalkeeper who is good enough for the league that we're playing in. We kind of advanced beyond the skills of Linus, but haven't really replaced him. I don't know that any of the guys who've come in to replace him have been better than he was. We signed a bunch of goalkeepers who were as good as him but had potential to improve. And because we don't really have much in the way of training facilities, none of them are improving. That's a lovely finish from McDonald. So I think we probably need to bite the bullet and break transfer policy for a goalkeeper and go and sign an experienced one. These young and hungry players work everywhere else on the pitch, and especially as a few of them are getting older, and we've got some players who've played hundreds of games for us now, the likes of Anderson, Laskowski, Ball, Hurd. These have played a lot of games for us now, so even though they're still relatively young, they're sort of pushing towards mid-20s now and have played a lot of games. So we are slowly developing some... That was some risky defending from Redhead. What was he even trying there? That's just thrown me completely. Can't believe what I've just seen. But yeah, we have got little bits of experience and sort of drifting through in the rest of the team. But in goal, we're still just waiting for somebody to start to fulfil some potential. And I think we need to accept that it's too big a position to mess around doing that, like we can everywhere else. That's another lovely finish from McDonald. I mean, we're good going forward. We're terrible at the back. It's the story of every Kev team ever, apart from my Arsenal one in Non-League to Legend at the moment, which is like the opposite. Which is, that's a frustration in itself. But goalkeepers, eh? What are we going to do? We've got about after we've loaned out a lot of the youngsters that we signed in the summer. We've got about £4,000 a week of wage budget to play with. We don't have any transfer budget. We don't really have any money. But if I could find the right keeper available for a couple of £1,000 a week that we could bring in on a free, I just don't know if January's going to be the time to do that. That's the other issue. Because what decent League 2 goalkeeper or League 1 keeper is what we're really after? What decent League 2 keeper is going to be available on a free at Christmas? I can't imagine any of them are going to be. So we're again stuck in needing to loan someone, and no, we're not going to be able to loan anyone who's better than Nadat. I can hear you all go, yes you can, anyone's better than Nadat. But realistically, we're not going to loan anyone better than him. And we can't buy anyone unless we sell Sawyer. So we go back to that same thing again. We need to sell Sawyer. But then that money's supposed to be to balance the books, not to go and spend £250,000 on a goalkeeper. Can any of you lot play in goal? Let me know down in the comments. If you can play in goal, come along to that Nuneaton game in April that we were talking about. You can have a trial, and you might you might get the job. Oh my goodness, this like relegation threatened, and they've scored 4 goals against us in 47 minutes. We're just so bad defensively, and I know the way I set up is going to let things like that happen sometimes. But I don't know if that's Redhead or Sawyer. They're both quick enough to not let that happen. We shouldn't be as vulnerable from balls over the top as we are. And I know you're all going to say, drop the defensive line back. I'm not going to drop the defensive line back, because that then leaves the midfield far too exposed, and we just don't get it takes so much away from us going forward. We kind of like to compress the play, get the ball moving around quickly, and it works at that end, but we can't defend. It's 4-4. Could we be on for our first 6-6 of FM18? It feels like we've been waiting forever for this, but with for 35 minutes of the match to go, it's 4-4, and it could be about to happen, and that would be a marvellous thing if it does. I would accept not winning if we got our first 6-6 of the save. If ever there was a team that we're going to have in FM18 that is capable of a 6-6, it's this current Nuneaton team, because we're so good going forward and so bad at the back. Go on, let's have a 6-6, but can we start scoring the goals first? No, apparently we can't. 5-4, 25 minutes to go. I mean, you get your money's worth as a Nuneaton fan. If you're watching Nuneaton games home and away, you see some goals. We're just so terrible at defending. Oh, Robbie. I try to defend you and then you do things like that. Right, go on then. Let's make it 5-5. Skelton. Can't get... No, we can't get... I mean, please, somebody. Fisher. That was a big chance for Dan Fisher to be missing. Right, we're going to make some changes. I don't know what we're going to make. I don't think we should be changing the attack at all. We are going to get Sir Tom on in midfield. We're going to get Laskowski on at the back. And we're going to leave it there for now. We've got some terrible performances in our defence. Laskowski will hopefully come in and shore things up a bit. And Sir Tom, I really just want him on for his leadership and attitude. Fisher again with a big miss. If Dan Fisher messes up my 6-6... I'm not going to be very happy at all. He's missed some big opportunities that you wouldn't expect him to be missing. We can't be losing 5-4 against Fylde. They're actually not as low down in the league as I thought they were. This pushes them well up into mid-table. But still, we shouldn't be conceding 5 goals against anyone. Final substitution. We do need to find a way back into this game now. Chambers Shaw for Hurd. I mean, it's not the most positive substitution we could have made. But I don't want to change the strikers. The strikers have both played well. I don't think Hendon or Garrick are more likely to score than Fisher and McDonald. It ties into what we were saying before about they are the main men. And they've proved it today. They are both scoring goals, although Fisher's missed a couple of big chances as well. 5 clear-cut chances each. I mean, it's not as if either team's been particularly prolific. We're just both terrible at the back, it seems, and they're letting the other team create a lot of chances. Right, here we go. Let's grab our equaliser here. Skelton. That's a terrible ball forward. He's better than that. This time last year when he came in on loan, he looked incredible. I think we've ruined him. Fisher! Oh my goodness, Dan Fisher. What are you thinking? He's scored once today and apparently thinks that's enough. He could have had a hat-trick since then. We could be winning this game 7 or 8-5 if Fisher had his proper shooting boots on. He's not come out for the second half right at all. And all of a sudden, forget ideas of a 6-6. I want my 5-5 now. We've got to get back into this game. We don't deserve to lose it. We're being mugged at the moment. Right, Fisher, McDonald, Skelton, Sir Tom Elliott! Oh, 7 clear-cut chances now to their 5. But we're the team that's only scored 4 goals. Sir Tom again having a go. This is what I was talking about before. Sir Tom mixes things up a little bit, but I just don't know if he's got League 2 quality. And we're going to lose. I mean, look at those stats. I know we've setting up the way we do end to end, etc., etc. That's gonna happen to us sometimes, but it doesn't feel fair that it happened to us today. See if we can do any better against Shrewsbury. Just the one change for the Shrewsbury game. I brought Laskowski back into the team at the expense of Sawyer. Apparently, I think he's going to fix the entire defence. I think this is my strongest front six. And attacking-wise, we were absolutely fine in that last game. We don't have many options to try and fix the defence. Laskowski's the only realistic backup or option at centre-back. Philip Burns isn't really ready yet. We could bring Worrell Bristow back in at right back, but Mole is better than him. Anderson, we've got that guy whose name escapes me. Hudson, is that his name? Craig Hudson, but he's not fit. So, I mean, and Anderson's our captain. We can't really be dropping Anderson off the back of what ultimately was a fairly poor... I mean, it was a poor performance from Sawyer, and it was a poor performance from Nadat. We could have swapped Nadat over. We haven't. We could have swapped, and we swapped the other ones over. So hopefully we just come out with a superb performance today. Same attacking performance again, and just better at the back. And Laskowski might just offer us that. We look like we're much fitter than the Shrewsbury team, and we have rested between these two games. It looks like they haven't. They've got like 5 or 6 players in their team who are already down well below 80% conditioning, and hopefully that's going to go in our favour. And we've won a penalty 16 minutes in, and it's going to be Skelton to put us 1-0 up. And if we're already back up into third place as it stands, and a goal here puts a little bit of a gap behind us again, and suddenly everything looks like the Fylde game has done us no damage at all. We're not going to catch Nottingham Forest or Bradford City because they're both massive clubs at this level. We're Nuneaton. If we finish third behind them, we'll be delighted. So we'll just, 2 points clear of fourth place. That's where we were at the start of the episode. If it ends like that, everyone's happy. Fylde never happened. Huzzah! Right, can we have another couple of goals, please, gentlemen? Nyron Hurd's damaged his foot, apparently, but it doesn't seem to be affecting his conditioning at all. We did just get a message like, Fylde are beating Bolton 4-0 now. I tell you what, perhaps the performance against Fylde wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because if they're beating Bolton 4-0, Fylde must be under new management. In fact, Fylde, where has your form suddenly come from? Schedule. Wow. Okay, so they got the confidence from... they are capable of doing it to teams. They did it to Orient. They've definitely got goals in them. I wonder if they have changed their manager. 16th of January. No. They've just suddenly decided they're going to start scoring loads of goals against teams better than them. That is just weird. There's 2 former Posh players on the pitch for Shrewsbury at the moment. Ricardo Santos and Nicky Ajose. For any Posh fans watching, and I imagine now I've identified a Jose, he's gonna ruin us, because that's how the world works. I think Santos gave away the penalty though, so it would only be fair. The universe would just be aligning itself again. Fisher with another big miss. Dan Fisher, what has happened to you? You were so prolific, and now you do things like that, and I don't know why, and they really upset me. Right, substitutions. I'm going to take Fisher off. All this talk of if he's fit, he plays. Just get him off. He's annoying me. Laskowski's not having a good game. But Sawyer was even worse in the last one. It was Sawyer and not Redhead, wasn't it? Who was rubbish and I took him off. Yeah, that's all right then. So I'm not bringing Sawyer back on yet. He can sit there and think about what he's done. We are going to get Sir Tom Elliott into the midfield. And we'll leave it there for now. So Hendon comes on up front. We've seen Hendon score goals when he's in the mood for it. He's another one of these who's very young, still developing, has lots of potential. So Tom Elliott, forward to Skelton. Out to Mole, who we've just offered a new contract to. He's the first of last summer's batch of youth who we've offered new contracts to. McDonald makes us 2-0, and that should be that in theory. But Mole's been given a contract or offered a contract till the end of next season. I'm going to look through and see if there's any others I want to extend at the moment. But really, I think he's the only one of last summer's batch at the moment who's broken into the team. And that's generally how I do it. It's how we did it with Sawyer and Williams and Laskowski and all them who came through before them. They come in on their 1-year deal, and as and when they break into the team, we give them a longer deal. So at the moment, it's just Mole. But we will keep looking. Right, James Ball can come off and we'll bring Blackford on for him. Sawyer can still just sit there and think about what he's done. I don't care how bad Laskowski's playing. If necessary, I could have brought on Burns. But Sawyer we need to send a message to him. because he gets a little bit complacent. I want rid of him, really. I think I'm a little bit harsh on him because I've decided he's the one who's got to leave because we need the money. But importantly, we have won this second game and we are still third in the league. So as much as I moan over recent episodes, because it is frustrating playing the way we do, we are still looking good for automatic promotion this year, which would be an incredible result. It's only our second year in the Football League, which would be marvellous. So we'll end things there. We have got a little mini Christmas transfer window ahead of us, so I will have a look for a goalkeeper. You might meet him tomorrow. Who knows? I haven't got anyone at all in mind at the moment, so it's pretty unlikely. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.